Good evening, everybody. Welcome back, Fantasy Endgame fam, and happy Thursday. Happy mock day. That's right. We're doing a mock with you. I know some of y'all already. Well, here we go. Link is about to drop. You can draft with us. This is what we do on a weekly basis, and we'll continue to do probably even more as we get closer. It's not quite training camp season just yet, so, slow your roll. But we also be doing these underdog drafts, anything to get you ready for the season. But I know you guys want to make your own teams, don't you? So we're going to do it. If you are waiting impatiently, check the comments. You're going to see the link. You can join in Sleeper. That's what we do. And get drafting. Here you go. Chris, you took the 10, and I put myself at the end for the 12 picks. I don't think I've had the turn yet.
Yeah, I don't mind this late pick. Like, I'm gonna be honest. This is most of the time. This is what I do. I just go Google random number generator 1 through 12, and whatever it gives me, I take. Unless it gives me a spot that I just had, then I'll redo it to give me a different spot.
Yeah. Either way,
it's good to try drafting from different spots.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Since we do these, and again, I know some of you guys, you just take what you can get if you're lucky enough to get in, but don't try to constantly draft from the same spot. Even if you're like, well, I know in my league I'm going to have the 7th pick. Draft from the 6th or the 5th, so you know what are the guys ahead of you thinking, right? What you think is going to be available, and vice versa. But you know what? Let's just do it. We're full, right?
Let's do it. We're full. Everybody is green. Let's go. No autos.
No, no autos. Which, by the way, I used to say like it just goes without saying, but I guess we need to say it. If you're joining one of these and taking a spot, stay for the whole thing. And there's plenty of other people who would love to have had that spot and don't get in every week. So if you're in, right until it's over.
Yes. It's not that long. It's like not even an hour. Doesn't even take an hour for the whole draft.
Nah, exactly. Okay, so let's see. We got Charizard at the 1, Tony at the 2. Okay, Dan the Man. We're ready. I'm thrown off. Dan the Man has an Eagle avatar, and he just took Jahmyr Gibbs over Saquon Barkley. You're gonna have to explain yourself.
Yeah, you got to explain yourself, Dan. Also, Saquon at the 1-6. That's pretty nice.
It's weird. I mean, if that happens, if Saquon falls outside the top 5, it's usually because everyone's going receiver heavy, right?
Yeah, that is definitely not something we see very often. So good value there for Ezron with the Antonio Brown icon. But yeah, Dan the Man, Eagles fan, passing on the Eagles for the Lions.
Very interesting. And that's not just the fact that you're Eagles fan, but yeah, Gibbs at the 3. That's just kind of generally a little aggressive. Chris, which way are you going? Nico?
Well, Nico.
You can't go wrong with that.
I feel like it used to make a noise when you were on the clock. Now it doesn't.
It should have made some sort of noise. Oh, actually, mine didn't either.
That's weird. Yeah, it used to make like a noise like doo-doo-doo or something like that when you're on the clock.
Okay, so you know what? All these receivers going off the board. I'm gonna zig when everyone else is zagging.
Man, I was like, oh, maybe I can get CMC on the way back still, but no. I considered CMC at the 110, honestly.
Yeah, I thought I might get like I'm okay with Drake London here at this spot, but yeah, I really thought I would get at least one of Nico or BTJ. But you know what? We're just going double hero RB.
Nothing wrong with that. I mean, if CMC and Henry play all 17 games this year, they can absolutely both finish as top 5 running backs.
That's the hope. That is the hope. I'm going Jaunty.
Yeah, nice consolation prize for not getting McCaffrey or Henry.
Now, it's also good, I think, for us to do these on a weekly basis because I think at this point we're doing more underdog, best ball, than regular drafts. It just makes sense. It's best ball season. It's not really draft season for redraft, but you have to kind of slightly adjust your mindset because the ADP for best ball is not exactly the same as the ADP for a redraft. Okay, Francis Ablas has a question. Jefferson, Gibbs, Nico, which two to keep?
My goodness. I mean, I think you got to keep Jefferson and Gibbs, right? But I mean, can you really go wrong here?
Yeah, it's like which first round pick are you comfortable parting with? I'm assuming it doesn't matter. You just pick two.
I mean, yeah, I don't.
I think you have to. I think Jefferson is for sure.
Yes, Jefferson's a for sure. And then it's like, do you want to take a chance that you can still get Gibbs?
Well, I think that's. I'm almost tempted to say Nico, but here's the thing. Here's the question I would have is, okay, so everybody gets two keepers. How many keepers are going to be running backs? How many running backs are going to be at the pool when you draft, right? Like what's going to be available for you? So if everyone's keeping their running backs, yeah, maybe you keep Gibbs.
Yeah, I mean, that would be my guess. If everyone's got two keepers, I'm sure most teams probably have one of those top running backs.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing some interesting guys here. I mean, H-Chan at the 2-9. Already got 3 QBs in this round.
Yeah, well, H-Chan at the 2-9, but also H-Chan after Chase Brown and Bucky Irving. Don't see that too much.
Yeah, and I was like, man, I might get JT here. I mean, JT in the 3rd round?
Oh,
Crazy.
one pick away. You almost did.
Almost did. Mark sniped me. I like Adams here. I mean, JT at the 3-9. Bowers after McBride.
Yeah, I didn't notice that too. McBride before Bowers, you can make a case for it. You don't typically see it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's like I don't think the gap between Bowers and McBride is as big as people want it to be, but I still think I'm Bowers over McBride.
All right, here's the question. Do I still have faith in the boy Tyreek Hill? I don't know. A little nervous.
I mean, you should definitely have faith in Evans. It was actually between Evans and Adams for me. All right, you got no faith. Got no faith in him.
Yeah, I really don't. I don't think I do. Just I'm nervous. I mean, obviously you brought up the stats the other day about the separation is not there anymore. The wrist is still an issue. The way this offense runs, it's just sorry. Give me safe, boring Mike Evans or DJ Moore. I actually think DJ Moore's. I'm perfectly happy with him still. Yes, thank you. Old. I prefer the term experienced. We'll make up for it later.
Cheetah is more of a house cat.
Yeah. Drell asking what type of draft is this? This is PPR, right? Full PPR.
This is actually half PPR.
Oh, we're doing half. Even better. I didn't know. Yeah, you're right. It says half. I just didn't bother to read it. Even better, I got 2 running backs early. What's up, Ray? How's it going? Yeah, so that's also interesting since it's half and not full PPR. We had that run on receivers toward the end of the first round. I'm surprised we didn't see Jonte or CMC before my pick.
Something happened to my sound. I can't hear you. What happened? Can you hear
Oh,
me?
yeah.
Try it again. Say something.
I can definitely hear you.
Oh, there we go. Were you muted?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, I can hear you now. Now we're back. Not sure what happened there.
So there's Tyreek Hill right after your pick, the 4-4. Do you think in most drafts we'll see him fall that far?
No. I think he'll probably still be a third round, maybe even a second rounder, honestly. But I'm not drafting Tyreek Hill this year. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Yeah, I just think it's too risky. And I get you need some risk, right? But just I prefer my risk in the mid to late rounds, not the first couple of rounds.
Well, not only that, it's okay, he had a wrist injury last year. But is the wrist injury preventing him from getting open?
Exactly.
Like this isn't a guy who this isn't a Nico Collins who's fighting guys off the line of scrimmage, hand fighting off the line of scrimmage to try to get no, this is a guy who is burning people with speed. Wrist, I don't think the wrist. Just think he's just a little slower, and in the NFL, a little slower is a lot slower.
A little slower, also just not targeted on those deep throws as much. And I think that's a big thing. We saw it happen the year before where teams were just playing too deep, just taking him away.
Yep.
It's taken away. And we actually saw it to some extent, if you remember back in Kansas City, right? They were starting to just play that safety away back and just like, look, you're not going to let Tyreek Hill beat us with a 50-yard touchdown and just taking away. And we saw him get a lot more intermediate and short targets, which was still good for fantasy, but he's not that game breaker anymore, but for multiple reasons now. And just that's why the Dolphins had to adapt, right? They had to make Jonnu Smith their leading receiver. And yeah, I just don't think we're going to see that week winning Tyreek Hill on a regular basis.
Nope.
Yeah, I'm not worried about Tua per se, but I mean, there is still that risk, right? He technically is probably one hit away for potentially hanging it up. So
right.
all right, Taz, let's see. You can't snipe me because I don't know who I'm taking yet. Impossible.
You can't snipe me if I don't know who I'm taking.
Exactly. No, can't take him. Can't take him either. All right, what the heck? Let's go sort of boring still.
All right. Well, if you believe Tyreek Hill is dust, then it should be good for Jalen Waddle, right?
Exactly.
Should be.
Exactly. Should be. So let's see. DK was taken. Pickens taken. Sean is saying that DK is going to be underrated this year.
Oh, we're doing this. Are we have to do this every stream now? Are we going to have to talk about DK Metcalf every stream now?
Good. I, I don't know if it's that he feeds his number one so much that he just feeds Devontae Adams because Devontae Adams is his boy.
Yeah, let's remember he wasn't feeding Garrett Wilson before Devontae Adams got there.
Exactly.
He
And
wasn't feeding Garrett Wilson. He was just feeding. He just started feeding Devontae Adams at the end of the season when they were like eliminated. Like,
just wait till they bring Alan Lazard over, and that's who.
yeah.
Just wait. D-Rack, he's saying he got Tyreek Hill in the 5th. It's a 10-man league. I mean, that's kind of comparable to where he went here.
Yeah, I mean, if you drafted Tyreek Hill in the 5th round last year, would you have been happy? No. I mean, Tyreek Hill was literally, we were like literally at the end of the season, like you can't even start Tyreek Hill.
Oh no,
like you can't even start this guy.
And we didn't even have to explain it. It was just like, you can't sit him.
Yeah, and people were like, okay, no problem, no problem, and they weren't regretting it. It wasn't like one of those like, oh no, I missed out. No, he was like, nah. No. I mean, I get it. He could bounce back, but there's a lot. I mean, we're talking about a 31-year-old wide receiver who looked like he lost a step, who might not even be happy on his team anymore. Like there's a lot of factors here that, don't normally work in the favor of a bounce back.
Yep. Too many variables, not just one thing. Andrea's got an interesting trend going on there. She went 3 receivers and then 4 straight running backs.
Yeah, very interesting. Interesting draft there. It's like, I don't even know what you would call that.
I don't know. We'll see how it turns out. I mean, you got great 3 receivers to start, and then you really have addressed running back depth, so there's no holes. You're fine waiting on QB and tight end, so maybe you're onto something. NMB, where are you at? Okay, there we go. Yeah. Okay. Ooh, Mahomes.
We're seeing a lot of tight ends in this draft already.
And I feel like quarterbacks are going earlier than usual too.
Man. I guess if I don't take him here, you're going to, so.
Let's see. Let's see where Debo goes today. Curious now that people have seen the clips.
I think he's going to the buffet right after this draft.
He's joining Eddie Lacy. Oh, let's hope not.
Oh, poor Debo.
Do I take a Niners receiver who isn't Ricky Pearsall? Actually, let's lower the median age for my team. Let's go young. Actually,
Well,
no, I take that
you just took a rookie, so that helps.
Yeah, actually, I was about to take another, but I'm like, no, I can wait because I think I'll get him on the way back. I could be wrong. Let's go boring.
I did not think you would take Jacoby. Oh man,
Yeah, I like him.
I didn't know that. I figured you're gonna take Caleb.
Of course. Thank you. Commissioner Breeze approves.
Yeah, I figured you're going to take Caleb. I was like, I
We had
think
a
I can
little.
get Pearsall and Jacoby here.
Yeah, well, and I will say Jacoby Myers, because I would say took a shot, but I kind of, mentioned this on something that's going to come out on Fantasy Pros one of these couple of days, tomorrow or the next day. There are definitely an opportunity for some targets because, Brock Bowers was the main guy last year and Jacoby Myers was the main wide receiver. There's definitely an opportunity for Besh, obviously. You're hearing some hype on Dante Thornton. I don't know if you think is just one of those guys who will disappear come the regular season, but saying that he's standing out. This
Yeah.
offense could be less boring than people expect overall.
Oh, no, I definitely think it's going to be less boring than people expect, for sure. For sure.
Billy asking who'll be the best rookie. I mean, Jonte's the obvious answer. I mean, this is just Jonte. I think it's got to be him, but who do you think's next?
Yeah, if it's not Gianti, or however you pronounce it, I'm gonna continue to be boring and just say McMillan. I think, well, maybe it's not boring because people might pick one of the running backs, but I really like McMillan. The more I look at it, obviously he's going to be the number one in that offense, but I like the way he fits with Bryce Young. I talk about him in tomorrow's video. So I'm going to say McMillan, if not Genty.
Yeah, McMillan makes the most sense. Still big on RJ Harvey. Don't think the Dobbins signing is going to move me off of him too much.
I think I'll say Travion Henderson's another one I think is really has a really sneaky chance to be the best rookie.
Yes, agree. Okay, I'm wondering where this came from. I saw this also random. I not even maybe it was somebody I follow. I don't know. Randomly on Twitter, I saw something about Josh Downs. Like he's the best bargain. And INMB is saying hot take: Downs is the cheapest wide receiver one you can get. Now, if you mean wide receiver one for his team, I don't know if that's for sure. I mean, it should be Pittman, but I guess it's possible it's Downs. But are we missing something with Josh Downs?
I think no, I don't feel like I'm missing anything with Josh Downs, that's for sure. I think where this may be coming from is Matt Harmon, who we like, released the Josh Downs reception perception, and it was very good because Josh Downs is a good player.
Agree.
But I mean, he was a good player last year too, and what did that result in?
Yeah, it's not the player that I question; it's the situation.
Right.
I mean, it's Daniel Jones.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's Daniel Jones, and if it's not Daniel Jones, it's who was it again? One of the rookies.
I think it was you said it. Riley Leonard, is that who it was?
Yeah, Riley Leonard. So
yeah, I feel like not that I'm going to take one because I'm not. I feel like everybody already has a quarterback.
yeah, I feel like tight ends and quarterbacks gone very early in this draft.
Which I'm fine waiting. I think I'll take one, not the other. I'll just go with a kind of my fallback at tight end. And tank. Which, by the way, did not get the guy I thought, oh, maybe he'll fall back to me. No, the very next pick after I took Jacoby Myers, Matthew Golden, who you might have taken if he was available off the board.
You thought Matthew Golden would make it back to you?
Maybe.
Let's see. Go with a rookie, another rookie here.
Like that pick. Ray was asking a question. What was your question, Ray? Let me see. Oh, he said, do you use your own rankings or do you use underdogs? I think just in general. I do my own.
Yeah, I don't really. I mean, I don't necessarily have rankings right now, but we do quite a bit of drafts. I kind of know who's going where.
On these drafts. Okay. No, I don't use underdogs rankings. What I think we both have a similar approach. I feel like some people think they have to have a set of rankings with them. Like either they just know or they have it on the side. Like, okay, let me see where I have this guy. Let me see. You don't have to do that because every platform is different. Of course, every draft, every format, but also I kind of look at the ADP because I know what other people do is most of the time the people I'm drafting against, they don't have their own set of rankings, Like if I'm in an expert league, well, yeah, they do. And then you're just lucky to get what you get. But I look and I kind of gauge where I think I might get a player. So I just mentioned Matthew Golden.
Yes.
Why did I think I could maybe get him on the way back? Because he was not showing up on the screen as far as the sleeper rankings. He was like the 7th or 8th receiver left on the queue. So I thought, okay, maybe these players will go ahead of him. I might get him if people, which there were a lot of running backs taken that round. But, I didn't, and that's fine. It's not that I had Golden necessarily as the next receiver in my list on my rankings, but I knew I had him ahead of Igbuka and Coleman and Downs and Debo and those guys. So I don't think you need to have rankings of your own done. I think you need to have an idea of where you can get a player and where you value that player. And Chris and I do so many drafts. I think we could probably do that just with our eyes closed.
Exactly. And I'll say, yeah, same thing. I think about two things. Like, do I have a need? Right? Do I have a need? Like, am I already dude. Like in this draft? I'm already very strong at wide receiver, right? I have Nico, Adams, Hunter, Ridley, Pearsall, Jennings. I probably won't take another wide receiver. But then, yeah, I also think like I did there when I took Pearsall. Like, okay, if I don't take Pearsall here, is he going to make it back to me or not? Obviously, when you draft towards the ends, you got to be a little more like, okay, this guy's probably not making it back to me, maybe because you got to wait almost 2 full rounds. But the other thing I did that to go off what Pierre said here, it's very important to look at your site's ADP. And in fact, what I used to do back in the day, is I would go round by round, like on a piece of paper. I would go round by round on my site's ADP, like wherever we were drafting on. And I would say, okay, in round 1, I'm willing to draft these guys. In round 2, I'm willing to draft these guys. Like literally just the guys. And then what will happen is like you'll find that, oh, there's guys that I was willing to draft in round 4 that are still there in round 5 or round 6. And then, you know what I mean?
Makes sense. Yeah, you have to know. It's always going to go back to the thing, know your league, not only your rules and your settings, but the people you're drafting with. If you can, sometimes you won't, but
right,
that's
that
always an
too.
advantage. Just trying to anticipate what's going to happen.
We got 2 rounds left, so I have 2 picks left. So I guess I need QB and tight end.
Yeah. Yeah, I need a QB too. Oh, you got to be kidding. Taz. Why would you do that? Like an underdog, you don't want to, in best ball, you don't necessarily want to have a handcuff. I kind of wanted Christian McCaffrey's handcuff, not going to lie. Okay. Well, you know what? In that case, I'm just going to assume Isaac Guerrero gets hurt. There you go. Now I have the real handcuff. I will say this though, going back to Ray's question, we do have our own official rankings that come out on the live draft pilot for draft lane. So, of course, if you were with us last year, you know about draft lane, and if you don't know about draft lane, it's where we have our rankings. We answer your questions, start, sit, trade, everything. So we actually have an app, and our rankings will be on there, and that's what kind of feeds the live draft pilot. So it tells
Right.
you who you should draft, who you think is the best player available. It's based on our rankings.
Right. But what makes the live draft pilot different than just rankings is we actually programmed it in a way where, like I said, it looks at your league, your roster settings, your scoring settings, and it doesn't just say like, okay, here's the next best player, take him. It says like, oh, if you're in a full PPR, 3 wide receiver, 1 flex league, you probably should put more of an emphasis on wide receiver than on running back or quarterback or tight end. Or, if you're in a non PPR, 2 running back, 2 wide receiver league, you probably should put more of an emphasis on running back and all sorts of different things. So it doesn't just look at like our rankings and say like, oh, here's the best player on the top of our rankings, take him. It also looks at your league and your settings and says, okay, based and who you've drafted. So it knows like, again, if you're in a 3 wide receiver, 2 flex league, full PPR, and you go running back, it's probably going to tell you to start hammering wide receiver because it's like, hey, dude, you got to start a bunch of these wide receivers and you're falling behind. So it's not just that's the other problem. That's my other problem with rankings. It's like, okay, they might have player X ahead of player Y. Well, first of all, they might have player X ahead of player Y, but it might be really close. Like there's no clear, like they're like, yeah, I could, I have player X ahead of player Y, but that's because I have to put somebody ahead of somebody else. But if you really ask them about it, they're like, it's really close. And if you just keep taking the guy on the top, you might end up with a team that's like, my flexes are terrible because I kept taking running backs because that's who was at the top, right? Kept taking whatever. So we wanted to create something that, it uses the rankings because it has to know how to value the players, but also it looks at much, much more than just how we rank the players.
Exactly. And that's, that's kind of what we said when we set out to start doing this, why we started even doing YouTube. It's like, we don't want to, believe it or not, we don't just like to hear ourselves talk, and we don't want to just say, hey, look, here are our rankings. Here's our predictions here. It's trying to give people personalized advice. It's trying to help you with your team, trying to help other people and give them advice and give them stats and things that they wouldn't otherwise know. So I think the more personalized it could be, the better. It's exactly not just here's a set of rankings, pick this guy first. It's not how it should work.
Right.
We have a petition of movement in the chat for a second draft. I'm not sure if
a movement in the chat. Do a second draft. Do a second draft. I will say the draft went very quick.
This one did go quick.
Very quick here.
But not done yet. Got one more round. You need a tight end. I need a quarterback.
Now, I will say, well, okay, he hasn't been picked yet, so I won't say it yet.
I know it's Cole Kmet.
Yeah, that's the thing. We still got to rank these teams. It's not like this isn't like underdog draft where we just draft, kind of go over our teams real quick and we're out.
True. Exactly. Don't worry, Wolfman. We're going to go through the teams.
We got to give the people what they really want, which is ranking their teams.
Exactly.
Which is ranking their fake football teams in a fake football draft.
Exactly. It's good. It sharpens the mind.
That's right. All right. Well, you're probably going to take him, I'm guessing, then, because
Nick Chubb off the board.
Someone's going to do it. Someone's going to take a chance. Someone's going to buy back in.
Okay, here we go. Let's see
wait,
it. Kyle Pitts.
No Kyle Pitts.
No. All right. Tucker Craft. Who do I have? You know what? Breakout season. Let's go.
Yep, I know. Caleb Williams for sure.
Yeah.
I actually think I might have Caleb over Brock Purdy in a vacuum, but because I took Jennings and Pearsall, I'm like, I'll just take Purdy. Go for the stack.
Well, yeah, and obviously me having DJ Moore helped. All right, let's see what everyone else did. We are done with this draft, so let's start with Charizard at the 1. No shock to Jamar Chase, and then it's not early, but Trey McBride in round 2. We don't usually see that, and then Josh Allen. Okay, so going QB tight end both early doesn't always pan out. Let's see, Mixon, Hubbard. Okay, well, we have a second quarterback in round 6. You want to just address that now?
Yeah. So this is what I was saying about, like, if you just blindly follow rankings, you might end up with a team like this. The problem is this is a 3 wide receiver, 1 flex league. I mean, if you like, that is one thing we definitely, I mean, there's lots of things about, I don't want to go into the whole algorithm for our draft pilot, but one thing we were very, very adamant on with our developer, Ali, who's awesome if he's watching this. And by the way, let me move us so we're not blocking the draft board, although that's, hold on, guys.
We just got really small.
Yeah, that's not the good. Hold on, guys.
That's good enough. You know, and then after we're halfway done, we could shift to the left, maybe.
Bear with me. All right, there we go. All right. But one thing we were very like strict on with him is like, if it's a 1 QB league and a team is drafted a QB, especially if it's in like the first whatever rounds, like first, do not recommend another QB. Like maybe at the very end you can like the very last round, you know what I mean? But you certainly do not need, when you draft Josh Allen, to take Baker Mayfield, because you're betting on Josh Allen being your stud quarterback all year. And again, the problem here is now you have a 3 wide receiver, 1 flex league where you have Jamar Chase, who I like, of course, Jordan Addison, who's fine, but now your flex is going to be, well, Jalen McMillan has to be your wide receiver 3, which I don't like, or Marvin Mims. And then you're flexing Tracy Dowdle, Algier, maybe a tight end, and Tyler Warren. I mean, and your running backs aren't even that great. I mean, Mixon Chuba is fine, but it's not like you're dominating at running back. Like this is the type. I don't know if Charizard used rankings or how he drafted this team, or if he whatever. Maybe this is his first draft of the season. He's getting his feet. I don't know, but this is, if you just blindly follow rankings and you don't think about roster construction in your league and your settings, this is the type of team you can end up with.
Yeah, and you know, now as you speak, and I'm actually looking at the whole board, not just, you know, the chat and all this stuff. I see we have 3 teams, hopefully not more, 3 teams that took 2 QBs. So again, just in general, it's a 1 QB league. You just don't need to. You don't need to do a second quarterback, but especially if you draft Josh Allen, even, or Jaden Daniels, like this other team we're going to talk about, Joe, you should not need another quarterback the whole season unless that player's on bye that week, and you should be able to just make a waiver wire pickup. So it's just basically you're wasting a pick. Overall, team 1, though, I would say even the second half of the draft, McMillan and Dowd and Mims, I feel like there's a lot of tickets here.
Yeah.
All right, Tony is that team 2. Bijan, Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison, Xavier Worthy, Kamara Pollard, Jaden Reed, Evan Ingram, Scattaboo, Kyler Murray, Jack Besh, Blake Corum, and Jalen Wright. I feel like this team has a lot of your guys.
I was gonna say, I don't think I could find anything to complain about with this team. I mean, Bijan, of course, your anchor. Wilson, Harrison, Worthy is your wide receivers. That's fine. Kamara is your RB2. I mean, Pollard, Jaden Reed, maybe even Scattaboo is your flexes. You got Ingram and Kyler Murray. I mean, Besh on the, like, yeah, great job. Nothing to complain about here. Well done.
Yeah, I like almost every pick, really. And I even noticed, and, you know, I'm not a huge Kyler Murray fan, but he was falling. I was like, I'm going to wait till the last round. I almost pulled the trigger on Murray, just like, okay, I feel like this is too late for him. But great value there. I love Ingram at tight ends. Yeah, well done, Tony. Dan the man still has not explained his Jahmyr Gibbs pick, not just because you took him third, but you took him over Saquon. We'll see. JSN, Bowers, Omarion Hampton, McMillan, Olave, Judy, Herbert, Warren, Ayuk, Harris, Liggett, and Ford. Got a lot of rookies leading the way here.
Yeah, it's a young team, but again, I mean, it's okay. Gibbs over Barkley. Okay, is what it is. We won't let the Eagles know you did that. Got great value on Bowers. Think Hampton's fine there. And then I like wide receivers not going to be the strength of this team. Which in a 3 wide receiver league doesn't make me feel great. But look, if Hampton is the guy there for the Chargers, you should be okay. You got a lot of players I like. Again, I think I would have preferred, instead of Hampton, I would have preferred to get maybe another wide receiver there so I could feel better. Because again, we're starting 3 wide receivers plus a flex, which means you're probably starting 4 wide receivers most weeks. So you want to have 4 good ones. It's not like you have 4 bad ones, but they're risky.
Right. It's not about talent. This team certainly has talent to hang with any other team, but yeah, this is a little riskier team. It's gonna be a lot more volatile. And yeah, I mean, still not a big Jalen Warren fan. Jerome Ford, who knows? So if Hampton doesn't come through early in the season, you're hurting for running back big time, basically. Because I don't know if you really want to start any of those guys. But overall, pretty good. A lot of talent. I will say this in general. I'm starting to have my doubts about JSN as a second rounder. Just a little bit. Think it a little aggressive, but that's for another time. Team 4. I see an homage to Aaron Rodgers. So, Justin Jefferson, Devon Achane, JD, Laporta, DK, Romadunze, Judkins, Egbuka, Etienne Ray Davis, Jake Ferguson, CJ Stroud. At least you took him in the second to last round. And then Dylan Sames.
Right. And again, this is one of those, where it's like you have a running back, a QB, and a tight end in the first 4 picks. Obviously, Jefferson, Achane is a great start. I mean, getting Achane there is ridiculous. I mean, I like JD, but I don't. This is why I don't feel like I want to I would prefer to wait a little bit on JD, and especially would prefer to wait on Laporta. All right, DK Metcalf is your wide receiver 2. I guess it should be okay. I think Odunze is your wide receiver 3. Should be okay, but like Judkins is your RB2. And now we're flexing one of Egbuka, Etienne, Ray Davis, Dylan Sampson. Like you might be getting slaughtered at the flex, and that even assumes Judkins is a solid RB2 right out of the gate. So if Judkins is in a solid RB2 right out of the gate, you might be getting slaughtered at RB2 and the flex. So again, it's very tough in these, like in your 2 running back, 2 wide receiver leagues, yeah, you can take QB early and tight end early and you can be okay. But in these 3 wide receiver leagues, just makes it a little tougher.
Yeah, exactly. The first half of this draft was solid. But again, where you took Jaden Daniels, you need him to be a top 3 quarterback all season. You need Sam Laporta to be an elite tight end all season. And then the second half is just a little sketchy, and you didn't need a backup quarterback and tight end. Andrea, all right, so we talked about this. 3 receivers early: CeeDee Lamb, T. Higgins, Terry McLaurin. No complaints there. And then got Walker, Connor, Aaron Jones, Najee, Johnny Smith, and Bo Nix, Kupp, Dobbins, Eckler, and Josh Palmer, who we did have a question about earlier. But before we get to that, unusual way to get to it, but I kind of love this team.
Yeah, it's definitely unusual. But unlike the other kind of, the team 1 and then team 4 there, she could flex Aaron Jones or Najee Harris theoretically. So she still has her 3 running backs, 2 solid 3 wide receivers, 2 solid running backs, and probably Aaron Jones and or Najee Harris will at least be flex worthy. I like Jonnu. I like Bo Nix. Definitely a very old bench, but it's a bench. So I don't know. I don't think it's on par with Tony's team. I know she said she was trying something new, but I think for what she did, it worked out fine.
Yeah, well, you may not have a single running back that's like a top 10 back, But you have 4 guys you can mix and match. I mean, the depth here and the J.K. Dobbins late. I like the value on Knicks and Jonnu Smith. So I think this is very clever. I don't hate it. Someone, by the way, Commissioner Breeze, here it is. What do you think about Palmer and Buffalo?
Yeah, I've talked about Palmer. I think he could be kind of like this year's Nick Westbrook Akine, like one of those guys who's not racking up a ton of receptions, a ton of yards, but he's always has a chance to score every single week. So I think he's a good player to have on your bench because if you have buys or injuries, you could put him in and at least feel like, hey, there's some touchdown upside there.
Right. I'll say better in best ball. We don't have to worry about starting him the week he happens to catch a long touchdown. Also, I would say definitely still better than Elijah Moore. Not falling for that. We have team 6 here. Easy, right? Easy ranks door. I'm not sure. Saquon and then Chase Brown. Interesting. Bought the dip on Saquon, but then reached a little bit for Chase Brown. Just real quick, what do you make of that 1-2 punch in the middle?
I mean, like I always say, I mean, we're assuming this is a redraft league, of course, we're drafting from the mindset of it's a redraft league. Get your guys. And look, if Chase Brown is doing what he did last year, no one's going to care that you took Chase Brown in the middle of the second. I will say I still have Achane over him. I still have JT and Jacobs over him, but I mean, he's like, I have no problem. Like, I think Chase Brown will be great.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been talking up Chase Brown. So you like him better than Achane? Sure, why not? Rice, Devonta Smith, Burrow, Hawk, Diggs, Keon Coleman, B-Rob, Love, Mooney, and Goddard. So again, just not even going to repeat it. QB tight end, you didn't need a backup. I mean, I think Burrow is still the type of quarterback for where you're taking him. You shouldn't need a backup quarterback.
Yeah, anytime you're taking a quarterback and or a tight end that early, you have to have the mindset. Like, I'm okay if with one of your last picks, like kind of what Rodgers did over there. Like, okay, you want to take a Ferguson and a CJ Stroud because you don't want to be fighting on the waiver wire in case Laporta gets hurt or Daniels gets hurt. That's fine. You waited till the very end. It's like, but you don't need to be taking Jordan Love in round 10. Like, Goddard round 12 is fine. But yeah, again, I mean, RB, great. Those running backs should carry you. Rice and Smith should be fine. I mean, I don't view these guys as I view these guys more like wide receiver 2s. Like, that's the issue here. You have like a lot of wide receiver 2s and wide receiver 3s, but no elite wide receivers. And again, the flex, we're going to be flexing Keon Coleman, Brian Robinson, Darnell Mooney. Like, those guys are okay as a flex, but I don't love it. So again, like, if you would have just taken Burrow or just Hawkinson, I think I would like got one of those better wide receivers, I guess. I probably would like this team a little bit more, but it's solid.
It's solid. I think other than the QB tight end thing, the build was good. It's just a couple of individual receivers I wouldn't have taken where you took them. So like instead of Rice, I would prefer Adams or Evans. Instead of Diggs, I'd prefer probably almost anyone, but Pearsall would have been my pick there. And then I'm still not a Keon Coleman fan. I'm just not. So, but overall, a pretty solid job at the top. NMB went Malik Neighbors, Ladd, Jacobs, Kittle, J-Mo, Travion Henderson, Shakir Downs, Kyle Williams, Spears Benson, Rashawn Johnson, and Drake May.
Rashawn Johnson. That might be our first Rashawn Johnson pick.
Yeah. First Rashawn Johnson. We got Drake May as a starting quarterback, which is fine. We got a lot of New England love here.
Yeah, I mean, I think the first half of this draft is phenomenal. Neighbors, McConkey, Jacobs, Kittle. Jameson is your wide receiver 3. I love Jameson. I've talked about Travion Henderson as a potential breakout. Look, Shakir Downs, Kyle Williams as your flex. Yeah, it's risky. I mean, you got Spears. Like, it's risky, but we know Shakir is at least solid as a flex, so I like it. Yeah, I still don't think it's quite on par with Tony's, but this is definitely one of the better teams.
Agree. And you took May as your starting quarterback, but he's the last one picked, and they're still in this draft, despite a lot of backup quarterbacks being taken. There's still plenty left out there. If he doesn't pan out, you didn't invest early, but I like that trying with a Kyle Williams, partnership there. I'm not going to go so far as say I'm like excited about the Patriots offense, but I do think there's some good value there. So I like those picks. Okay, we have LKR Kid, Puka, Bucky, Lamar, Cook, Sutton, Pacheco, Mark Andrews, Debo did go in round 8. Jaden Higgins, Pittman, Rashad White, Colston Loveland, and last but never least in our hearts is Nick Chubb.
Yes. Again, I'm gonna say I'm not a fan of Bucky there, but again, if he's your guy, get your guy. He's probably not gonna make it back to you. Lamar, fine. James Cook. Sutton as a wide receiver 2 is fine, but now we're looking at wide receiver 3 being Debo, and then you're flexing Higgins, Pittman, Rashad White, maybe Nick Chubb. Again, flex is getting a little dicey. I think instead of Pacheco, because you've already invested 2 running back picks in your first 4. I think if you could have gotten like an Odunze, an Olave, and Addison, whoever you like, whatever, Judy, whoever you like there, I think that would have made this team a little bit stronger. And then maybe instead of like Debo, Higgins, and Pittman, you could have swapped one of those guys with a running back. Fine with the love. Again, I'm fine with like you take Andrews in round 7, you want to back him up with a tight end because you don't want to fight on the waiver wire. Okay, I'm fine with that. So again, I think this team is one of those teams I'll say is solid.
Right. That's fair. Like Bucky wouldn't have been my pick there in round 2. I would take an Achane, JT, Chase Brown, or Jacobs, but I don't hate that. It's the Pacheco pick that I think bothers me more. You could have had Dunze,
Right,
Addison. So, but overall, it's pretty solid. And then Mark at 9 got Sun God, got St. Brown, then AJ Brown, and then JT, which is fantastic value.
right.
Tyreek Hill. I mean, for where you got him, not bad. Monty, Godwin, Mahomes, and Kelsey. Ramondre, Sharps, Burden, Keenan Allen, and Braylon Allen. I see what you did there. Started with a pair of Browns and ended with Allens.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, St. Brown, AJ Brown, Jonathan Taylor is pretty good because it's really good because it's very hard to get all 3 of those guys on a team most of the time. Talked about Tyreek Hill, but look, he's your wide receiver 3. All right, fine, gamble on him. Hopefully he gets better. Monty is your RB2 is solid. Godwin is your flex is great. I don't know if I'm going the Mahomes. Like I don't. I think this like the Mahomes Kelsey picks is where I kind of go like, oh man, this draft was on its way to being so good because now if like let's say Godwin isn't ready to start the season or Tyreek Hill is dust and you got to move Godwin to wide receiver 3, you're flexing Ramondre, a handcuff, a speedster with a hamstring strain already, a guy who doesn't have a team. You know what I mean? So I just feel like at that point I can just wait. Like I don't think Mahomes and Kelsey give me the kind of upside where I like need to take those guys. I can just wait later in the draft. So love the beginning. I just wish he just kept getting like good upside players instead of Mahomes and Kelsey there. And then this team would have been really stacked.
Yeah, well, like if Mahomes and Kelsey are solid, if Kelsey bounces back even a little bit, I think it's fine where you took him. I think Mahomes should be a little bit better. And actually, I don't mind that you took Tyreek Hill. If Hill, let's say, gets hurt or is dust or whatever, you can move on and be okay because Godwin's your number 3 receiver. That's still pretty good, and you can find a flex. So I think this is a overall job pretty well done. On the other hand, here's Chris's team. No, just kidding. Chris at the 10. Nico, Jonte, Adams, Hall, Hunter, Ridley, Pearsall, Jennings, Mason, Tootin, Blue, Purdy, and Kincaid. All right, so very receiver heavy early, although you didn't go you got your 2 running backs, but then you still hammered receiver. Of course, you waited till the end for tight end and QB. I don't see, I'm looking, I don't see anything to complain about. Obviously, your running back depth is going to hinge on one of those guys coming through. Although we did just see Jordan Mason. It's like it's foretold he's going to be like the short yardage and goal line back. I mean, is he going to outperform Aaron Jones based on touchdowns?
I don't know, but I do like Jordan Mason, as a later round running back who can give you some flex value. I mean, yes, again, and look, I'm coming around Breece Hall. Maybe I'm going to get sucked back into Breece Hall, but I'm coming around Breece Hall potentially being a steal in the 4th round. But if he's not, then yeah, my RB2 spot is going to probably be a little little struggly, but I'm not going to have any issue at wide receiver or flex. So if one of those guys, like if Jadon Blue or Tootin come on in the second half, or if Aaron Jones goes down and Mason's the guy, then this team could be a monster. I know some people are going to say like, oh, Kincaid's terrible as your tight end. Okay, maybe he will be terrible as my tight end. Fine. I go drop him. I pick up somebody else. No biggie.
Exactly. You didn't have that risk. Like if you take Kelsey in the mid rounds and he busts, it kind of hurts. Take Kincaid with your last round pick. It doesn't hurt to drop him one bit. You're not going to shed a single tear. Commissioner Breeze is a fan. He's a fan of Kincaid. I know now it's one of these things right now that I was all high on him, and now that I've given up on him, he'll go off now.
This is how it works a lot of times, right? It's like the whole world is like, it's got to be Kincaid's year, and then it's not, and then that's it. Okay, now he sucks. He's terrible. But look, he's entering year 3. Tight ends sometimes take a while to develop, and the Bills didn't do anything to scare me off his target share. So,
well, no, they definitely don't have anybody all of a sudden who's going to threaten anybody for targets. I think they're saying maybe it was injuries last year. Who knows? But worth a shot. Definitely worth. He's saying Kraft instead of Kincaid. Okay, well, nothing wrong with Kraft. Definitely better than Kyle Pitts.
Yes, I think Kyle Pitts I have given up on.
Yeah. Okay. Taz went BTJ London. That's a great start. Got Kyron in round 3, the end of round 3. Jalen Hurts, Pickens, RJ Harvey, Swift, Golden, Javonte Williams, Rashid Shaheed, Grendo, Kirk, and then there's Kraft.
I mean, I love it. It's like Team 2 and Team 11 knocked this draft out of the park for some reason. Other than the Javonte pick, which I can't even really say too much against it because, look, there is a world where Javonte Williams is the RB1 in Dallas, and then you're feeling like pretty good. You got him in the 9th round. But this is great. I mean, BTJ, London, Kyron at the end of the 3rd is great. I mean, you know how I feel about Hurts. He's a good value. He's going last of the elite QBs. Pickens is your wide receiver 3. Harvey, Swift. I mean, I feel like even if Harvey, maybe if it is a 50-50 with Dobbins, or maybe he's behind Dobbins to start the year, Swift should be your RB2. I think Golden could be just fine as like that upside flex. Yeah, I like this team. And I think Kirk is another guy. Again, I'm going to talk about Kirk being really undervalued. It sounds like we might be seeing like Higgins and Nico as the outside wide receivers. And it sounds like Kirk might have a stranglehold on that slot job right now. So he might be another great value in drafts.
Yeah, I like this team a lot. Now, I don't love all the late round picks, but Javonte and Shaheed. But overall, this is, I think, one of the top 3 in this draft.
Yep, definitely.
All right, and then there's my team. Went CMC Henry, followed by Mike Evans, DJ Moore, Zay Flowers, Jalen Waddle, Caleb Johnson, Jacoby Myers, Njoku, Tank, Hollywood, James, and Caleb Williams.
I mean, this is definitely going to be one of my favorite teams, too. I mean, if CMC and Derrick Henry play all 17 games or even 15 or 16 games each, I mean, this team could be a monster because you still have Evans, DJ Moore, Zay Flowers, and then Waddle, Caleb, or Jacoby Myers is your flex. I think any of those guys can be your flex. In fact, it wouldn't even surprise me if Jacoby Myers was better than those guys. So then Njoku, your tight end, is fine. I like the bench, and Caleb is your QB. Yeah, this is definitely one of the best teams too. Well done.
Actually, I'm pretty happy with it. I looking back, normally I might take Godwin. I feel like it was a good value, but I already had Evans. I probably should have taken Ridley instead of Zay Flowers, but let you have him. And
appreciate that.
Yeah, I do. I like this team overall. The debate I think we're going to see a lot heading into the season is CMC or Gianti. You go with the veteran who's been the RB1, or you go with the rookie. I think that's definitely a debate we're going to have all the way up until the season actually starts. All right. Well, glad y'all were able to join us. Probably not going to do another because that just took us to the hour mark, but we are going to do another sleeper mock next week. We are going to do more underdog drafts throughout the week. Put notifications on so that you know exactly when we go live. Of course, subscribe. For some reason you forgot to already. Thumbs up and check out all the videos. Like he just mentioned, got videos coming out still every single week, and it's not going to slow down. In fact, closer we get, the more it's going to pick up. So
Yep.
keep it locked on here. All right, guys. Thanks for joining.